You keep wondering why it feels so hard to be true, why it costs so much to be honest, why the more real you become, the more silent the room gets. Let me tell you something Jesus never hid. The truth doesn't get applause. It gets stoned. It gets ignored. It gets crucified. If you're walking in truth and still being loved by everyone, you might not be walking in truth. Because the truth doesn't fit. It confronts. It doesn't make you popular. It makes you dangerous. Jesus never softened his message to stay liked. He let the crowd walk. He let the world hate him. And he still kept going. That's the weight of truth, and the price of walking with it. The world doesn't hate kindness. It doesn't hate charity. It doesn't hate good vibes or spirituality. The world only hates one thing: truth. Not the filtered kind, not the sugar-coated kind, but the kind that makes you look in the mirror and see your idols. The kind that exposes your performance, strips your masks, ruins your comfort. The kind that doesn't ask for your approval before speaking. That's why Jesus wasn't just misunderstood, he was murdered. He didn't just ruffle feathers, he threatened foundations. And when you walk in that same spirit, don't expect them to clap. Expect them to crucify. Let them. If you want to be loved by everyone, you'll have to lie to someone, including yourself. Because the truth isn't pretty, and it's never painless. It will make people leave. It will make rooms go quiet. It will make fake friends disappear. And if you're still trying to hold on to everyone, you'll eventually let go of what's real. Jesus didn't walk this earth collecting approval. He walked it burning illusions. And every time he spoke, someone either followed him or plotted to kill him. That's how you know it was truth. It didn't entertain. It revealed. They say they want honesty, but only if it flatters, only if it doesn't touch their idols. But truth doesn't negotiate with comfort. It comes to cut. And when Jesus spoke it, the same mouths that praised him one day were screaming for his death the next. That's the price of pulling back the curtain. And you, if you truly follow him, will face the same pattern. At some point, you'll have to choose truth or applause, spirit or spotlight, heaven or harmony. But don't expect to have both. The world hates what it cannot control, and the truth can't be managed. You keep asking, why don't they like me anymore? Maybe it's because you stopped lying. Maybe it's because you stopped playing their game. Maybe it's because you finally chose your soul over their comfort. And that's a good thing. Because the truth was never supposed to make you loved by the world. It was supposed to set you apart from it. Jesus didn't preach truth to gain followers. He preached it to call out the few willing to lose everything. He wasn't building a fan base. He was forming a remnant. And if the world hates you for following him, it means you're probably doing it right. Don't get it twisted. Hatred from the world isn't a tragedy. It's a sign. It means you're no longer a slave to its validation. It means you've stopped editing yourself to keep the peace. It means you've started telling the truth even when your voice shakes. That's not failure, that's freedom. And Jesus warned you, if the world hates you, remember it hated me first. That wasn't just a heads up, it was a promise. And when you stop resisting that reality, you'll finally start living the life you were actually called to. You want to change the world, but still be liked by it. You want to confront darkness, but never offend. You want to carry a cross, but keep your hands clean. It doesn't work like that. Truth is disruptive. It gets you unfollowed, canceled, pushed out. But that's exactly how you know it's working. Light doesn't fit in. It exposes. And every time you tell the truth with your life, you're holding up a mirror to a world that doesn't want to see its own reflection. Don't be surprised when they break the mirror. Just don't put it down. Jesus didn't come to coexist. He came to confront. He walked into temples and flipped tables. He spoke truth in front of thrones and wasn't afraid to bleed for it. That's your standard. Not passive, shallow niceness, but sacrificial honesty. The kind that costs you something. The kind that might make them hate you. Not because you're cruel, but because you're clear. Not because you condemn, but because you won't compromise. And the world doesn't know what to do with that kind of clarity, so it attacks it. You keep wondering why you feel tension every time you speak truth. That tension isn't a sign you're doing it wrong. It's proof you're doing it right. The world isn't designed to receive truth. It's built to resist it, It's structured to celebrate illusion, reward performance, and punish authenticity. So when you break that system, when your life refuses to lie, when your silence ends, expect backlash, expect isolation, but also expect alignment. Because every time you choose truth, you're stepping closer to the one who is truth. Jesus never begged for their acceptance. He never adjusted his message to protect their feelings. He wasn't harsh, he was honest. And in a world addicted to comfort, honesty feels like violence. That's why people called him offensive, dangerous, arrogant. Not because he was wrong, but because he was too right. If you're truly following him, don't expect praise. Expect resistance. Expect tension. Expect to lose the very thing your ego craves most, approval. And let it go, because truth is more valuable than applause. The world will always hate what it cannot tame. That's why it loved Jesus when he multiplied bread, but hated him when he multiplied truth. As long as you're useful, agreeable, safe, you'll be embraced. But the moment you speak what burns in your bones, the moment you live like eternity is real, everything changes. That's when they unfollow. That's when they whisper. That's when they label you too intense, too religious, too much. But you weren't made to be manageable. You were made to be true. You say you want to follow Jesus, then follow him. Not just when it's inspiring. Follow him when it's costly. Follow him when it makes you look crazy. Follow him when they laugh, when they roll their eyes, when they walk away. The goal was never to be liked. It was to be faithful. And faithfulness is rarely fashionable. It won't get you viral. It might get you vilified. But that's the path. That's the pattern. And that's the price of walking with the one who flipped the world upside down. The most dangerous people in the world aren't the loudest. They're the clearest. The ones who walk in truth without apology. Who don't scream, but don't flinch either. That's what makes the world uncomfortable. Not your volume, but your clarity. Because clarity demands response. It confronts passivity. And passivity hates to be exposed. That's why people will hate you for being what they've spent their lives avoiding. Real. If you're trying to be accepted by a world Jesus was crucified by, you're not following him. You're imitating them. You want resurrection without rejection, glory without obedience, but that's not the way. Jesus didn't sugarcoat reality. He declared it. And when truth hit nerves, he didn't retreat. He stood. He stayed. He spoke again. So let them misunderstand you. Let them call you names. Let them hate you. Just don't let them stop you. You keep searching for a version of truth that won't offend. It doesn't exist. The truth offends precisely because it's real. It doesn't bend. It doesn't flatter. It doesn't fit inside the box of culture or convenience. That's why the world always rewrites it, rebrands it, redefines it so it can stay in control. But Jesus never edited truth. He embodied it. And when you do the same, don't be shocked when the system pushes back. That's not failure. That's friction. That's impact. Stop expecting comfort in a war zone. If you're carrying light, darkness will notice. If you're walking in truth, lies will attack. You weren't promised ease. You were promised fire and power in the middle of it. Jesus never asked you to be agreeable. He asked you to be unshakable. And unshakable people don't shift with opinion. They stay rooted even when everything around them resists, especially then, because resistance isn't the end. It's the beginning of becoming real. The world will try to convince you that truth is hate speech, that clarity is arrogance, that conviction is cruelty. But don't let their discomfort become your silence. Love doesn't lie, and truth is not violence. It's freedom with a sharp edge. Jesus never weaponized truth, but he never watered it down either. He spoke it with wounds. He bled for it. And if he didn't hold back to protect his image, why should you? You weren't called to be nice. You were called to be holy. Niceness adapts to the room. Holiness transforms it. And transformation is always painful before it's healing. That's why the crowd turned on Jesus. Not because he hurt them, but because he wouldn't play their game. He wouldn't entertain their illusions. And when you walk in that same spirit, don't expect comfort. Expect confrontation. The kind that purifies not just others, but you too. You keep praying for purpose, but avoid the pain that comes with it. You want to carry truth, but not the cross that comes with it. But truth isn't a script you recite, it's a weight you bear. And that weight will cost you reputation, comfort, safety. It might even cost you relationships. But don't let that stop you. Jesus didn't come to protect your image. He came to destroy the illusion that you ever needed one. Truth doesn't polish. It pierces. At some point you have to decide, do I want peace with the world or peace with God? Because truth rarely gives you both. The world offers applause for your silence, but Jesus offers power for your surrender. One gives you attention, the other gives you authority, and you'll never carry both. If you're still addicted to being liked, you're not free. But if you let go of needing their love, you'll finally be ready to live in His. You don't need to explain why you live differently. You don't need to apologize for walking in truth. You weren't born to blend in. You were born to be set apart. And being set apart doesn't always look noble. It often looks offensive, weird, even threatening. That's why Jesus was hated. Not because He was wrong, but because He refused to be who they preferred. So let them hate. Let them question. Just don't let them shape you. Don't water down what God made sharp. Don't shrink back when the heat rises. You carry something heavier than acceptance. You carry presence. And the presence of truth exposes what comfort tries to hide. That's why people react. That's why they walk. That's why they push. But your job isn't to protect their feelings. Your job is to walk faithfully, even if it means walking alone. Especially if it means walking alone. If the world hated Him, why are you still begging for its love? If He was rejected, why are you shocked when you are too? You keep waiting for the truth to get easier. It won't. You keep hoping the world will understand. It won't. And that's okay. Your calling was never to be understood. It was to be faithful. To stand when others kneel. To speak when others stay silent. To carry a light that makes people uncomfortable. And leave the rest to God. Let the world hate you. Let them misunderstand, ignore, mock, unfollow, cancel. Let them. Because if they hated Him and you truly follow Him, they'll hate you too. But don't let that stop you. Let it purify you. Let it clarify you. Let it make you bold. Because the ones who walk in truth don't need applause, they carry something deeper. And in the end, when the world fades and the spotlight dies, you'll still be standing with Him.